Although smartphones have become an essential part of our lives today, the classification of smartphones as non-essential goods during the COVID-19 lockdowns in India has had a massive impact on the industry. Hence, for today's episode of Mashable Outrage, we decided to reach out to Realme India CEO, Mr. Madhav Seth, to ask him how the COVID-19 pandemic has not just affected Realme, but the smartphone industry on the whole. So I'll start off with a question that most of us really want to know. So right after 2019, Realme was a smartphone brand, and we did see a few accessories such as the power bank and the Realme Buds Air, but Realme was still a smartphone brand through and through. But it was only towards the end of 2019 that Realme announced, it wanted to be a lifestyle brand and introduce a wider range of products, in the coming year, which is 2020. So what I want to understand is if the COVID-19 pandemic has actually had an impact on your launch plans for the year, and if it has, are we seeing some products being pushed over to 2021, or are things still on track for the year?
To be honest, yes, I think we haven't changed any of the plans yet. We still are aggressive. Still, we carry on the same dream of Realme for every Indian. So we want to develop a product where Realme has been experienced by one and every Indian across India, about through length and breadth. And we want to touch the life of this billion people through billion of other products connected through the ecosystem of host of ecosystem products which we are trying to give. So I think that vision is still there. Our targets haven't changed because we still believe that basically the market would be more sanitized, and between the people aspirations of the phones will be more value for money, and people aspirations towards the phone would be more on the utilitarian side of the devices and not on the lifestyle type of devices. So considering these two factors, I think Realme fits the bill perfectly in the same side. And I think hence I still believe that we have got a host of new opportunities. Along with this, AIoT also products are the need of an hour, because where the devices used to be one or two devices at home, now it will be at least needing 4 devices at home because all of your kids and your family members and to stay connected during this difficult time. And I think mobile becomes one of the most essential items doing so. So I think we are still aspirational, and we are still very hopeful to achieve what the vision we carried on with 2019 in the beginning, pre-COVID, to continue post-COVID also at the same time.
So what I've noticed, and actually a lot of people have even asked me that phones like the Realme 6, Realme 6 Pro, and even the recently launched Realme Narzo, they haven't been readily available. We have seen a few flash sales, but that's about it. So, of course, like manufacturing had come to a standstill during the pandemic because of the measures adopted, by the central government. So, has manufacturing resumed completely? And, if it hasn't, when do you see sort of, that happening? And also, are we seeing these phones go on open sale anytime soon?
We always believe, first of all, just to answer the last point first, we always believe in open sale. We always want to be available when the consumer wants it. We basically believe in flashes, but basically I think the current scenario is as such that people are desperate to get the phones on, hands on. As I said, the two aspects: first, the utilitarian side, which is the most utility side of the phone. Second is of the value for the money, where Realme fits both the bill at the same time. I think we are in huge shortfall from what the demand is right now, because there was a 60 to 90 days of I think complete lockdown, 60 days of lockdown, and supply chain. Yes, there was a disruption in the supply chain because of the complete lockdown. The biggest challenge still being the manpower going, bringing them back from their hometown. I think that would be still the biggest challenge for all of us. And I think considering all these things, yes, there was a supply chain disruption. We are trying to cope up with the demand, and I think everything will be back to normal by July mid or by end. That's what I believe.
So recently we've seen a couple of reports, which have reduced the smartphone shipments that are expected to happen this year. Due to various reasons such as supply chain disruption and expected dip in consumer demand. So, does Realme see smartphone sales normalizing over the course of 2020, or is there expected to be a drastic dip in sales?
Overall industry review, the overall industry view was expected around 155 to 160 million. I think the industry size will be stick to now 140 million. So there's a 20 million dip in sales overall in the entire year. So actually, about the 10 million or 15 million sales which we had or loss in last 2 months, or 20 million sale which we had in last 2 months, loss is a complete loss.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
industry is not going to recover that particular loss as such.
All right.
So I think the demand. So coming back to your
Hmm.
question, the demand will
Hmm.
be back to normal by, as I said, July mid or by July end. I
Hmm.
think the demand will be back to normal demand.
So I have a related question to that. So Realme has always taken a regressive stance, in terms of pricing. But the last few months have, there have been a few changes, such as the impact of the COVID-19, and of course, also has been a hike in the GST rates. So going forward, are we to expect Realme to take a similar aggressive stance in terms of pricing, or is there expected to be some sort of change on that front?
Entire industry will drift to a higher price tag. It's not only us because of the
Hmm.
GST impact. If because of the duties, GST impact, dollar pricing, I
Mhm.
think there were this factor which is not only concerned to Realme, but I think it would be impact for the entire industry. So the entire industry will move up, have to move up. So
Hmm.
if you're considering any particular product to be still value for money, I would say yes, it will still be a value for money because the entire industry notch has moved up to a new notch. To be more specific to your question,
Hmm.
Realme will always be an aggressive and disruptive in every single price point.
So when Realme launched, it was an online-only brand. But back in 2019, Realme announced, its plan to actually also expand offline. And as you earlier said in the video, Realme aims to reach out to as many individuals as possible in India. So my question to out here is, if has the COVID-19 pandemic affected your efforts on that front? And second, could you give us some sort of an update on how many locations has Realme managed to reach yet?
As of the beginning of 2019, we plan to reach to around 35-40,000 multi-brand stores across India, going up to tier 4, tier 5 towns.
Mm-hmm.
That vision, I think we are still carrying on with that vision of particular thing to go up to 35 to 40,000 number of multi-brand stores across India. Currently, we are present at around 20,000, and we want to reach to 40,000. The way to reach there is another. We are also going into micro distribution system, which will be appointing 400 distributors again within our zonal distributors, and to reach to this particular stores. So I think we are in line with that plans, and I think before the end of 2019 we will be surely able to reach to 35-40,000 stores.
So, as we've seen right now, lockdowns are being eased across the country and things are slowly getting back on track. But, when it comes to buying a smartphone, people are still going to be averse of actually stepping out, to buy a smartphone in a retail shop offline. So, what we've seen some smartphone brands do is, they've resorted to an offline to online model, and they have made some adaptations to their offline retail chain to make their products more accessible. So have there been any similar efforts with respect to Realme?
We need to understand one concept which is very true in India, that basically a physical contact is much more valuable than the online contact. The online business will still continue to grow to the generation of Z and X, will continue to grow. Within our generation, there are a section of people who always love to experience the phone and then only buy the phone. And the most important factor is not only just about the experiencing the phone also, it's also about the personal relationship and the trust what the retailers carry, the next door retailer carries. So I think that is one of the most important factors. That trust cannot be built in anywhere in online. They can only be built offline. So I think that is the reason why people will stick to offline. Still, a lot of people. Yes, there are shifts from offline to online, but I still believe that basically 55 or 60% of the people still would stick to offline stores. And I think the retailers in across India have done a wonderful job, and we are also helping them to educate. They basically to go digital. The customers used to come to your shop before. Now you have to go to their home. We are also having an O2O strategy, which is basically from offline to online. And basically, we are trying to create a catalog, and we are trying to divert the consumers from the nearby area to the stores nearby. If anybody wants to, they can put up a request to us, and we can always put up to the nearest store by them through the pin codes.
All right.
So identified through the pin codes, and we can allocate that particular customer to the nearest pin code store available. So I think
Mhm.
this type of workforce strategies we are continuously working upon, and we are trying to help retailers in whatever ways we can do that to re-establish their business.
So in recent times, we've seen an increase in the popularity of Truly wireless earbuds, and Realme with the Realme Buds Air was sort of a first mover, in the affordable Truly wireless earbud segment. So has there been some sort of change, in terms of demand due to the COVID-19 pandemic? And what sort of growth do you see in this particular category going forward? Especially now that you have a couple of more products in this same segment.
TWS for us was like, yes, a first mover advantage to us. At the
Hmm.
same time, I would say within a 1 month of his launch, I think we were the best selling TWS for the year of 2019. I think top five best selling in 2019, and number two uh, for the first quarter also. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that has given us an immense confidence on this TWS category. The reason, because I think that would be the new category which people would love to have, and that I would say that we are basically trying to democratize this particular category into more and more sections and more options. So by doing that, what we are trying to do, we brought TWS Air, then is Neo. Now we are going to launch Buds Q, which would be a new segment. So we are trying to help every single type of customers. Again, with the same philosophy for the Realme for every Indian, we are trying to
Mm-hmm.
democratize TWS to the every section of the society, giving them many more options at a different price point. And I
All
believe
right.
TWS is going to grow by about 400-500% this year.
So, once again, thank you so much for joining with us today for this episode of Mashable Outreach. And we wish you all the luck, in your future endeavors, both personally and professionally. Take care.
Thank you very much for holding me up.